All right, welcome. So we want to quickly look at how to draw isometric projections, and if we have the time, we also look at oblique projections. So when we say an isometric projection, it is a method of producing a pictorial view of an object. Okay, pictorial view of an object. That is a view that shows three faces of the object simultaneously. So unlike orthographic projection that we have been doing, where we're projecting the object, orthogonally, this time around we want to position it so that we can see three faces of the object simultaneously. Now we are going to look at a quick projected view. Some of you who have done this, one of the things you'll notice with this small box that is here is that it's on a straight line, and then it's inclined at 30 degrees, okay, to the horizontal on both sides. All right, so you have a straight line, you have your vertical, and then at 30 degrees. So and then this forms your isometric axis on which you begin to create your isometric box, okay, or blocks, objects. Now, one of the things you must pay attention to usually in drawings, we will always give you probably the lowest point on the drawing. So in this case of this box, the lowest point will be what? Point C. Okay, I think you guessed that right. All right, so point C will be your lowest point on the drawing, and then you have to locate the drawing such that it's okay. Point C faces downwards, and then you project at 30 at 30 degrees round. So in AutoCAD makes this easy. All you need to do is change your isometric settings, and then you can go on to make your blocks. Okay, so we have the isometric axis at 120 degrees. Of course, if you take all these arrows at A, B, C, it will give you 120 each, and that's 360 degrees. No, so you have a few examples of isometric blocks. Okay, so you see a typical example here. Let's rotate this. Okay, so you can see a typical example of the isometric block that is given. Normally, what we'll do is that we'll give you in orthographic. So now we are taking a step further from orthographic projection to now make it into an isometric block. Now, the last time we gave you the isometric block, so actually what you had, and you produced the orthographic. So the question is, if I give you the orthographic, you should be able to go back and create the isometric blocks. All right. So because what we did initially was created isometric blocks, and I showed you the point. Of course, I didn't tell you it was an isometric block. So, but this time around, you're going to walk backwards, and then you get the same thing done. Okay, I'm sure some of you have done this in secondary school, but like I said, it's nothing difficult. It's not difficult, so it's very, very easy and straightforward. If you look at page 152 in your pickup and packer, it has some very simple examples that you can explore, and also 152, 153, 154, and you see how the blocks were created. Okay, now there are actually some special features in isometric projections, for example, like drawing curves and drawing circles. You will not draw the circle as you will normally draw it, in orthographic, because it is now slanted and inclined. You have to draw it using special techniques. Usually you have to trace the curves, but in AutoCAD I will show you what you do for especially if you have to create an isometric circle. Okay, for example, you want to create an isometric circle, there's a command and tool you use to create your iso circles, and that will make life easy for you. Okay, but normally if you are doing it manually, you have to divide the box, and then you take the longest diagonal. You divide the box, you take the longest diagonal, and then you actually will do some tracing, and then you actually will come out with these curves. All right, so the next thing I want to do is let's look at how we will implement this in AutoCAD, and that will be interesting. So in AutoCAD, what you need to do is that you need to quickly set up your isometric, because this is basically in your your 2D space. Just you're going to use AutoCAD 2D, not 3D. So you are creating a new drawing, you go new, you go ArcCAD, not ArcCAD 3D. Okay, you are still in 2D. So the difference is that when we come to our snap settings, go to your snap settings, click on snap settings, and then you see you have snap type. You have the grid type is what you have been using. The rectangular snap, will select the isometric snap, and you click OK. So immediately you notice that your user coordinates, your icon, okay, becomes inclined. All right, and then this inclination, you can see if you're using 2015 like me and above, you will see these ISO draft options, the ISO planes. Okay, the left, the top, and the right. The left, the top, and the right. This you can also toggle automatically if you use from F5. Just use F5 and you can toggle between all of those planes. Okay, also, so if you use F5, you can toggle between all of those planes. All right, so it's actually easy. So just press your F5. Some of you may have to press the function key depending on how your keyboard is configured, and you can move between the planes. So let me show you a typical example. Make sure you also make sure that your auto is on, because this time around you want your drawings to be straight. You don't want curved lines. Okay, so make sure your auto is on. Use your F function, your F5 to toggle between the planes. So if I take a line, for example, I want to draw a simple box that is, say, 10 by 10 by 10 by 10. Okay, so now I've drawn this first, and I want to draw the top plane, so I'm going to have to change the direction, okay, to face, to see the direction that has to be on this plane, because that's where I'm drawing. I'll draw a line and make sure it is 10 by 10 by 10. Okay, and then I want to complete it on this face, so I have to change the direction to this face. You see, draw a line, and that would be 10 by 10. Okay, so that's very easy. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is on this, I want to draw isometric circles on the three faces of this object. So like I said, for you to draw an isometric circle on this plane where you are right now, all you need to do is use the ellipse tool. And then your ellipse tool, you see your options that are shown. You see arc, you see center, you see isocircle. So just type the I for isocircle, or you use your flyout. There's your arrow key. You can also expand it if you are using 2015 like me, or you type isocircle on your command line to give you the same thing, and you hit your enter key. Okay, of course, to make life easy for you, you should have located the middle of this object so that you are drawing correctly. All right, and you're sure that you're putting at the right place. So you should have located it. Probably use a line to draw a diagonal, so that when you're drawing your isocircle, you're sure that it's right at the middle of the object. Okay, there are many other ways to do that, but that's actually the a layman's way to do it. Okay, very easy way to do it. So you go back to your ellipse, select your isocircle, look for the center of this point, and then you see. Okay, so you have to draw that intelligently. You have to do it. So let me take the last plane, change my function F5, use the line. The line is just like a guideline, and then go back to ellipse, isocircle, and then I pull this point. Okay, oh no, we have to change the face, the plane. Lovely. Move it on this plane. Okay, so you need to find a way to be sure that the circles are, the dimensions of the circle are uniform. So please, that I believe as you practice, you should get that done. Now what I want to do now is I want to create a small cylindrical portion on the front face of this object, and then I'll do some small manipulations. So for example, I will draw a line, and the line will be on this face. Okay, or on this face. You remember that in isometric circles, of course, you cannot see hidden details are not shown in isometric drawing. So where this line is, where you have hidden details, you have to cut them off. It's not a 3D object, it only looks like 3D. Okay, so I'm going to copy this object, and I'm going to bring it somewhere to the front. Okay, now let me copy this object. I could have copied it from the middle, but you will notice that if you copy from the middle, you have issues aligning properly. So I already copied from a new reference point coming from the edge, so that I can be along the same line. You see, that's smarter. All right, and then I can trim. So I can trim every portion of this object that I don't need, and then I hit the enter key. I'm trimming this, trimming this, I'm trimming this. See, I'm trimming this, and then this goes off. Okay, Okay, I can still see. Okay, this is going and this is going. All right, so you can exit key. So you see, and then you save your work. So your isometric block is ready. So you can build on this to create even more complex blocks, and then that'll be a great way to actually proceed.